So where do we create this document? Well, if you think about the operations that we want to achieve here, create, read, update, and delete, then the first logical step to use the model is C, create, because if we can create a document, then we can also have a look at reading it, updating it, or deleting it. So we want to create a new place, and this can of course be done here in our places controller. Here we have the dummy places. We won't use these at the end of this module, of course. And if we go down a bit, we have our create place constant. This is what we should focus on now. As we want to use our newly created place model though, we first have to import it. For that, up here, we import place, again with a capital P, as this will be a constructor function. And this requires our models places file. With that, we can use the place model, and if we go down a bit here it is, our created place constant. The previous code is fine, so here we have some validation, and here we have the coordinates that we get with our geocoding logic, so we don't have to change this. But here, our created place logic, this has to be updated. So let's get rid of this code here, and let's first instantiate our place constructor here with new place. And now we have a new JavaScript object, and here we can now add data to our model. What our model needs though is already predefined by our schema, so we have title, description, image, and so on. Because of that, we can get started with the title once again. I'll again use this shorter syntax here, so title is what I wrote right here. We need the description, the address, we need the location with the corresponding coordinates, and we need an image. And as I said before, the image should be a URL, so no real file. Later in this course, in the file upload module, we'll learn how we can store images on our server, not on the MongoDB server, so not in the database, but on our backend server. Then this URL will point towards a file stored on our server. Here, I'll just take a dummy URL from a file in the internet. Make sure to store this as a string. Don't forget the comma. And with that, we only need our creator here. As I said, we will use a dummy ID here. Don't forget to add the semicolon. And with that, we created our model already. As I said, very important, make sure that the properties here in our model are the same that we have here in our schema. Otherwise, well, this will throw an error. Now, talking about errors, this brings us to this push logic here. This is not valid anymore because we have a different method we can use here for our created place constant now with the model logic, with our place model. The logic here is created place.save. .save is a method available in Mongoose, and save will handle all the MongoDB code you need to store a new document in your database, in your collection. And additionally, save will also create that unique places ID I talked about previously. Save is also a promise. This means we have an asynchronous task. Again, as we saw it with the connect method before, saving files to our database can take a few moments. Therefore, asynchronous task right here. And as we already have async up here in our create place constant, we can now add a wait here. And to make sure we catch any errors, let's also add try catch to make sure we are covered in case anything goes wrong, which hopefully won't be the case. So we will catch our error here and create a new error constant with our new HTTP error we used already. And the error message could be something like creating place failed, please try again. And an error code of 500 here. With that, we are almost done. There is one thing missing though, and this is return next error. We have to add this here, or we should add this here, to stop our code execution in case we have an error. If we don't add return next here, the code execution would continue even if we throw an error. Definitely not what we want right here, therefore important to add this too. With that, we are actually done. So if we now start our server once again and go to Postman, create a new request. This should be a post request targeting HTTP localhost 5000/API/ places as we want to create a new place. Then we go to body, raw, and JSON. And now we have to add all the properties that we defined in our model. So this was first the title, which is the Empire State Building, maybe. A description, a very famous building in New York. We need the address, which we can again get via Google Maps here. We don't need the location, it's automatically retrieved via our geocoding logic. Same thing is true for the image, we hard-coded that when we instantiate the place. This means we only need to add our creator, and this could be you too maybe. So let's see if we now hit send here. Yeah, this looks good. So we created that place apparently. Here you can see the unique ID that was created automatically. We have an underscore in front of the ID. We'll tackle that later, but generally this looks fine. Let's also see what happens if we go to our database now. Here, if we click onto collections, that looks good. By the way, here we have two places. The first place is the database name. The second is the name of the collection. So places here is what we specified in app.js, right here in the connect method places. And the collection name is here in place.js, right here, our place in the model method without the capital P and in plural. So that's basically the name of this collection here. And more importantly, inside this collection, we can now find one document. And if you look at the ending of the ID, it's EB6. And that's exactly the document we created right here. With that, we achieved a lot already. We were able to create the schema, to create the model, and to create our document in our database. So C, create from our CRUD operations is completed. Let's now continue with the R, read. So we'll have a look at our GET requests now.